Hi readers, I'm Jordan.
And I'm Katie.
And welcome to Not Another Heroine, the podcast where we break down the best and worst fictional heroines, those swashbuckling ladies who have to work a little harder than expected for their happy ending.
Want to see what's next on our TBR list? Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Instagram for a sneak peek at upcoming content or to help us pick our next book. It is the pick of the week. Dogs bark out in the distance.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
We tried.
We did. There was an attempt made. This week's pick of the week is my pick of the week. Words
You
are
sound
hard.
doubtful. I would hope it's your pick of the week because I'm not ready.
Fair. So I picked Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. That's the most easy name to say.
It's the easiest name we've had so far.
And I still fucked it up. That's fine. So I think right now we're in the midst of reading Thorn by Intisar Kahani. And I remember I was reading Thorn and I was like, I have read another book that's probably not similar at all, but also has Thorn in the title. And it was a whole inception moment that I was having. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to read Sorcery of Thorns again. And that's what I did. And it's cuter the second time around because I don't know if I read this in like a fugue state or something, but I remembered probably like 0.7% of this book.
So that's interesting because I have found that like 50% of the time, so it's like give or take, the second read is worse.
I could see that. I feel similar.
Or disappointing. I shouldn't say worse.
Yeah, because you kind of like hype it up in your head and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was better, I think, the second time because I don't think I really appreciated it the first time I was reading it because I was just like smashing down books. But it's probably closer to YA than New A, I would say.
The cover art alone kind of screams YA.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, because the protagonist, I think, is 16 throughout the book. And then the love interest, Jordan, is having a moment.
I need my protagonist to be a little bit older to be relatable.
Fair. Yeah.
Or at least, so it seems to me like current YA, like 16-year-olds actually act like they're 16.
Yeah.
Versus Daughter of the Forest, 15-year-old.
Yeah. She was a like 32-year-old in a 12-year-old body.
32-year-old with severe trauma, yeah.
Taking a sip of my drink, I'm sorry.
Do you want to describe that drink? Because it's phenomenal and I don't think it's very well known.
That is true. Okay, so in light of our K-drama sesh watching obsession that we're currently going through, we're doing a drink that my Korean friend recommended. So it's Yakult, which is like a yogurt.
But like
shooter.
a drinkable yogurt?
Yeah, it's like
Gogurt? Thicker or thinner than Gogurt.
Yeah. What's the one? Danimals?
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like healthier Danimals, maybe. So it's like one of those, and then soju, strawberry soju, and then I don't know what the drink is called, but it's like white and strawberry flavored.
There's also Sprite in it.
Yeah, and Sprite.
Right.
So it kind of tastes like an Italian soda.
Yeah, that's what I have never had it before until
That's fair.
like you made it for me.
Yeah, so we're having that, and it's delicious. And you can put a lot of soju in it and not taste it. So,
and if you've never had soju, it's like as strong as wine is, or like a really strong beer, but it's like a fruity liquor.
Yeah, because even the word liquor, I feel like is too aggressive for it.
Yeah, because it's not that strong.
But it is liquor.
Yeah. So like there's flavored and unflavored, and that mirrors the like alcohol content a little bit too.
Yeah, but they have fun flavors. It's like easy drinking, surprisingly. So that's why it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's what we'll be drinking today.
Yeah. So I'll be coherent right now, but not in future episodes.
What's the name? Do you remember the name of the heroine in this book?
I do. Elizabeth.
Oh,
yeah.
Bravo. You're on a roll.
Huzzah. Yeah. So Elizabeth is an orphan. She grew up in a library. And so the setting of this book is that there's basically librarians who are kind of like demon hunters. So they're like,
isn't that like a sci-fi original show?
Right? Yeah. Isn't
there's a show about librarians who are like also adventurers or something like that.
You were tickling my brain and I don't know.
I know I've seen like the TV trailer. They looked super cheesy, but
yeah. Fuck. I have no idea. So these ones are like less cheesy, but I could see the parallel. But basically, the librarians are tasked with making sure that these grimoires, which are like curse books or spell books, are like protected and stay grimoires, because basically some of the higher level grimoires, they're like classed from 1 to 10 or something. The higher the class the grimoire, if it gets damaged, it'll turn into like it's called a malefic, but it's like a giant demon made of like ink and leather, and Jordan's making a face. What is happening?
The librarians are an ancient organization dedicated to protecting an innocent world from magical and fantasy-like secret reality hidden from view. Sci-fi original show, The Librarians.
Oh, so yes. That's fair. And that's kind of basically what they do. So they just like go around their kingdom and make sure that all of these grimoires are safe. But basically they're kind of the antithesis of sorcerers, which are the ones that use the books. And magic is like okay, but the, librarians are kind of sequestered off. It's almost like a cult, but like not. So our young Elizabeth was an orphan, and she grew up in the like one of the big libraries that they keep some of the grimoires or whatever. And it starts off with her like not mother figure, but the director of the library. She's like badass, red hair, has a giant ass scar on her face.
Why is the badass always a red-haired badass?
I do wonder. I have questions. Basically, she dies in this like level 8 grimoire. She's like brutally murdered. And this like level 8 grimoire is damaged and turns into like a demon, but everyone's kind of like cursed to stay asleep, and she wakes up and she's like, oh fuck. And so she kind of defeats the demon, but then she's charged with like murdering the director and sabotaging, and they like are basically accusing her of releasing this grimoire for whatever intents and purposes. And so
So a couple things come to mind. In Elf Tangent, same thing kind of happens with the whole when she goes into like the Elf King's library and there's like a monster thing in there.
That is true.
And then doesn't that happen in one of the Akatar books? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's either book 1 or book 2. It's pretty early.
Yeah. Isn't that the like bone prison or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar vibes.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Like kind of that like high fantasy, but not. So basically, she's taken to the capital city to be tried for sabotage and murder and etc.
Does she have a exceptionally handsome guard?
That she does.
Oh, really? Did I get it right?
Yeah.
Oh
except he's a magister, which is like a high level sorcerer.
I was about to say he's probably like antithesis of the librarian type.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic.
His name is Nathaniel Thorne, and he's 18 years old, and he's from a long family of sorcerers that have powers over necromancy. And so they're kind of like on the outskirts of society. And this is kind of set in like Victorian, Edwardian, I don't know, history.
Think bustles and
bustles.
Like bustles is when they like the mounds of fabric like right over the butt.
Oh, okay, yeah. Uh-huh. What is that? Cinderella, doesn't she wear a bustle?
Yeah, they have to like to poof out. Like, it's either under or over, but it's weird looking.
Yeah.
And then like cameos as like a brooch neck.
Oh, the little
that period.
Okay, I get the vibes. So that time period, and she's taken in, and then we kind of get into the political intrigue of it, because the guy who's in charge of all of the sorcerers or magicians or whatever, he has this like kind of crazy, very political, very suave, like outward kind of thing he's got going on, and everybody's like, oh, he's amazing. He's like clean as a whistle, but
so like all of our sitting politicians.
Yeah, because on the back end, he's like made a deal with this like really psychotic demon, and he's trying to like take over the world.
Yeah, it sounds like our current policy.
That it does. And so we're basically kind of thrown into the middle of this of like, how does Elizabeth prove her innocence? How does she make it out alive? And she has this very cute like relationship with Nathaniel Thorne. They first met like a couple years before this, where he came to check out one of the grimoire books, and she's like, oh, I've never seen a magician in real life. I want to look at him. And so her and her friend go like through like dusty aisles or whatever to like watch him in this reading room. And he's brought in, and he's like waiting for access to the like big dungeon where they keep all the bad ones. And she accidentally knocks over a whole bookshelf, and he's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And she's like, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't have pointed ears. And he's like, what? I'm just a person. And she's like, doubt. So they have this like fun interaction, and she even like touches his hair to try to see if he has pointed ears, and he's like baffled. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And I think he makes some like snarky line of like, oh, many women have tried to find themselves in compromising positions with me. Like, don't feel bad about it. Like, it happens all the time. And she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, so I feel like when you have this setup, the hero is either like the same age or a year older, or they're 5 to 7 years older.
I could see that. Yeah, like the mentor.
Yeah, so is he older or is he roughly the same age?
2 years, so slightly older, like allowed to be on his own, but also not really an adult.
Just a little bit older enough to have like the superior like back and forth with her.
Yeah, basically. But I will say their relationship is kind of fun because he has this sort of downtrodden pessimism about him. And our main character, which I wanted to kind of touch on, is really an awesome role model, which I think doesn't happen a lot in a lot of these like fantasy YA books. Like they're always kind of, I don't know.
So I think role model gets confused, especially in this genre, because a lot of people interpret it, and this is a broad generalization, obviously, as like, oh, they're like a sword wielding, like kick ass. They're gonna go to battle.
Yeah.
But sometimes those characters make hasty decisions and don't think through everything, and like don't care if they're injuring others along the way.
Yeah.
But like their bravery and courage is like the epitome of hero or heroine, I guess.
Yeah. And they're also, I feel like a lot of times emotionally stunted. Like they kind of lash out at people around them or.
Oh, you mean like every Sarah J. Maas character ever?
Yes. And so that's why I kind of really liked her character. And I don't normally go for like YA books because I feel like I've obviously aged out of them a little bit. And it's like, okay, this is the same thing over and over. But this was fun because her character was very strong in her morals, like strong in her belief of right and wrong. But she also recognized, because she's like very anti-magician at the beginning. But then as she's kind of like introduced to it more and sees that it's like not all bad, she kind of questions like her beliefs, and she actually makes like strides to correct some of her like bad misgivings or whatever. And then she also has a couple moments where she's like, the easier route is to give in, and like despite all the like horrible traumatic circumstances she's like put through and like psychological, there we go, like trauma, she's like, no, like this is the right thing to do. We have to do this. And so she kind of like drags him along of like, you have to do the right thing. And he's like, God, I fucking guess so. Like, so it was like a fun protagonist, like actually like good, stood for something.
I like that.
Yeah.
Have you seen, and if you say no, we're going to have words after this recording.
Oh no.
Have you seen The Mummy?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, God. So readers, there are so many classically good movies that Katie has not seen. She's got an active list. I know this has come up before. But this reminds me of The Mummy with like the character being like an archaeologist / librarian. Remember the scene in the beginning where she knocks over all the bookshelves?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of the same. I'm getting the same vibes a little bit. And
I
like
could see that.
Brendan Fraser's character in that movie. Like
I think that was every like
every romance hero ever.
Yep, everybody's like sexual awakening too at like 14. Yeah, honestly.
It's like the comical swaggering, but like still gets the job done. And I need to watch that movie.
I know,
again.
that would be a fun one.
Oh yeah, let's put that on the roster.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of comes up a lot as like people who like this, like these style stories. That's like the movie for you.
It really is. And I kind of feel like a lot of like newer generation kids haven't seen it. Like they've maybe like heard about it, but it fits all of the things that everyone would love.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's a fun book. It's like the vibes are great. It's a good read. It's fun. Like, and it takes place half the time in a library.
Yeah,
like,
so let's not talk about it. So is there, what I would like is a book that's similar, but for an older audience.
Okay, that's fair. So I would say that One Dark Window is like the older, moody.
Boo.
That's fair. That's fair.
Sorry, that was hard.
One Dark Window is like the moody older sister of this book, but it's more if like One Dark Window and Half a Soul by Olivia Atwater had a baby, that would be this book.
That's fair. Half a Soul is like, I think in that new mid age range.
Yeah, because the prose and the like snarkiness and the setting is super similar to Hassel. But then like the darker book, magic is kind of similar to One Dark Window. And then I will also say that kind of like the tropes and the characters are similar to Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones.
Only one of the best books ever written.
Yeah. Because I forgot to mention, but higher level magicians have demons that are like they make like a blood deal, basically.
Like Calcifer and Howl. Oh,
basically, yeah.
cute.
And so it's cute because Nathaniel Thorne, the like love interest, his demon is Silas. And he's like very like clean, has beautiful clothes on all the time, loves fashion. He's like
This sounds like it'd be a great movie.
Yeah, it would.
Or like a Netflix series, like Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, it would. Because I feel like a lot of the scenes kind of would play well too. I wish I was like a TV writer.
Producer type.
Yeah. But yeah, so 3 similar books, Howl's Moving Castle, One Dark Window, and Half a Soul. So that kind of like magic-y Regency demons, but like make it cute and fluffy kind of.
I will give this book a shot.
I would.
I am just intrigued enough because of the similarities to all the other books and movies and all of these really good tropes that have come up.
Yeah.
I will try it.
It's cute. And I feel like it's kind of easy reading too. You get like halfway
Another
through.
reason why I need to try it.
Yeah. Because those books that are just like hard to fucking read, you're like, this is exhausting. This is not one of those.
Yeah, I need that to pull me out of because I need something to break my K-drama obsession.
I
because
know.
I've tried so many shows.
That's fair.
But yeah, so
it happens.
So A Sorcery of Thorns.
Yep, by Margaret Rogerson. Yes.
So from Katie's shelf to yours.
We'll see you on the next page.